States.
If you should just happen to change your mind about leaving, why...
I won't. You've been wonderful to me, Alma, but I just don't belong in New York anymore. You're going to have company tonight on that plane as far as St. Louis.
Well, at least you'll stay here instead of going back to the apartment to bury your head in a pillow.
Please don't worry about me. I'll finish packing and be back to pick you up after your last show.
You know, if I were the sensitive type, I'd say it's about time I started to mind my own business. Hey, am I seeing things?
Where?
It is. It's Peter Stanhope. He's the one Matt went out to Hollywood to see. Peter, you've come east to do the play. Where's Matt?
He's back in New York, as far as I know. And if you're talking about that stinker called The Comic Spirit, I wouldn't open dead in it, even with Matt directing. May we join you?
Yes, of course, certainly.
I'd like to present Abel Richmond, Alma Ragg,
How do you do?
How do you do?
Janet Bush.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Mrs. Eric Bush.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Bush.
I agree with you. The Comic Spirit is a stinker.
I will say one thing for Saxon. He got me so interested in the theater again that I've come to New York to look for a play. But under the unspectacular direction of Abel Richmond.
Telephone, Miss Ragg. It's Mr. Bernard in Chris's office.
Oh, thank you very much. My agent. When an agent calls at this hour, he doesn't want to know how you feel. Excuse me.
Your husband has great talent, Mrs. Bush. I've admired his novels tremendously, and I still think he could write a good play.
He did write a good play. When I read the first version of The Comic Spirit, I thought it was wonderful.
Hello, Jack. What's up? Don't tell me my plane reservation's been canceled.
Plane reservation? Your contract's been canceled. Dave Epps won't sign.
Well, that's impossible. It wasn't my idea to work in pictures. He offered the contract.
Look, Alma, I spent 5 hours getting hold of Epps in Hollywood, and I just hung up. The deal is positively cold, and he won't listen to arguments.
But why? I want to know why.
You're asking for it, so listen good. Because if I have to say this twice, I'll throw up. Dave Epps canceled your deal because you're an unreliable drunk who can't be depended on to show up for work more than 3 days in a row.
Are you talking about me?
That's what I asked Epps. He says he knows what he's talking about because he got it straight from the one guy in the world who should know best.
Oh, no.
Yes, Alma. Matt Saxon.
Thanks, Jack.
I hope you'll pardon the intrusion. My name is Peter Stanhope.
Yes, I know.
And this is Abel Richmond, the producer.
Hello.
I've heard of you, Mr. Richmond. Won't you step inside?
Thank you.
Can I offer you a drink or something?
No, thank you.
Well, then at least sit down, won't you?
Thank you.
Saxon telephoned me from Hollywood and told me that you'd read the play.
Yes, Matt was quite upset when I turned it down.
Turned it down?
Didn't he tell you? It was more than a week ago.
Maybe we'd better explain why we're here. Peter's in New York looking for a play, or perhaps Mrs. Bush told you. We saw her tonight, and...
Mrs. Bush and I are separated. I haven't seen her for several days.
You have a very loyal, separated wife. She's the reason we're here.
She defended your play so well that we'd like to read it. The original version, I mean.
I don't see what that would accomplish. Saxon has an option on the play.
You're mistaken. He no longer has any legal hold on your script.
I've admired your novel so much, Bush, that I'm anxious to see what kind of a play you wrote without Saxon's help. No harm can come from letting us look at it.
If Saxon let his option lapse because of financial reasons, I'll string along with him. I'll get you a copy of the script.
Such loyalty ought to be deserved.
kindness.
Sniveling menial.
Alma, darling, it's wonderful to see you. I
only came to say a few things to you. Not in anger. I'm just going to deliver them in a plain, unaccented style. And that's all, brother.
Alma, not you. The whole world of the theater is turned against me. The theater to which I gave so much, and from which I asked so little. I'm bankrupt, spiritually and physically. You are the only living person who can help me through this crisis.
I want you to tell me why you killed my job in Hollywood. Why you told Dave Epps I'd never be able to finish the picture. Why you lied about my being an incurable alcoholic.
Alma, what are you saying? How could Dave have misunderstood me so completely? I told him you'd be wonderful in the part. I told him you'd be even better if he'd give you a couple of weeks' rest and postpone the picture. I told him that you were tired.
I actually believe you've so poisoned your mind that you don't know why you lied about me. Well, I'll tell you why. You were jealous. You were jealous because I was able to get a part without your help. You were afraid I might become independent. Because once you get your hands on a property like me or Eric Bush or any of the others, you're not willing to let go until you personally are the one that says get out. Well, this time you've missed. Because I'm saying to you, get out of my life. You were in my hair, but good. Well, now I've combed you out, and out you stay.
Alma, give me 30 seconds. You admit you love me. Give me 30 seconds.
All right? You can have 30 seconds. Let's hear your routine.
This is no act. It may look like it, but this is the real thing. An actress once threatened to drink this if I didn't give her a job.
15 seconds.
I swear to you that if you walk out on me now, I'll drink this to the last drop.
10 seconds.
Alma, my death will be on your hands.
5 seconds.
Alma!
That's it.
Get off! Hello!
Matt, where are you? You don't sound so good. Are you ill?
Well, that Hollywood session was no picnic, Eric. Can you come over to my office and we'll talk things out? Yes, right away. Well, I said I'm rather tired.
I'm expecting a call, Matt. If you want to see me tonight, you'll have to come to my apartment.
All right. If you insist. I'll be there in about 15 minutes. Greetings from an unworthy ambassador on your behalf. Did I hear you ask me if I'd have some brandy? I could do with a spot.
What happened in Hollywood? How did you make out with Peter Stanhope?
That ham, I wouldn't hire him as a walk-on.
I asked you what happened.
Hollywood has ruined him. He's forgotten how to act. I listened to him read for 5 minutes, and then I snatched the script from his hand. The timing's like a toy watch.
But you said he was practically signed.
So he was. So he was. Before I had my inspiration. The one man in the world today, Eric, who can play Moliere. The one. And he had completely slipped my mind. Think of Moliere, Eric. Think of the character as you have written him. Think hard. And now I'll say his name. David Lee.
Who's he?
What provincial rock have you been living under that you have not heard of David Lee? David Lee, the English actor, tragedian, comedian, everything. I'm flying to London tomorrow to start negotiations. And incidentally, you better write me out a check for $3,500. My account has been tied up by some silly kind of a lawsuit.
Are you talking about the David Lee who was in Hamlet here last season?
I knew you'd remember him. Perfect casting, Eric, believe me.
But he's at least 50 years old.
Let's face it, Eric, you haven't written a play, you've written a vehicle. A vehicle to be molded like gelatin to fit its star. With David Lee in the part, we can start the play in the second act, in the scene where Moliere realizes that he's getting to be an old man.
I see. We throw out the first act and half the second act.
No, we don't throw out anything. He simply plays those early scenes in retrospect. I admit it means a bit of rewriting, but there'll be plenty of time for that while I'm in London. You better write out that check before we both forget it. What's the matter, Eric? You in trouble? Where's Janet?
She's living with Alma.
You separated?
I'd rather not talk about it.
Well, of course we'll talk about it. Get it out of your system. It's the best thing in the world that could have happened to you.
Hello.
Mr. Bush, Abel Richmond. I understand Saxon is back in town. Can you speak freely?
No.
I thought not. Well, listen carefully. Stanhope and I have read your original version. We think it's terrific. He wants to do it. I want to direct it. We don't want to change a line. And we guarantee to go into rehearsal within 10 days. What's your answer? Just simply say yes or no.
Yes.
So at last you freed yourself, hmm?
Yes.
No, I know you're upset now, Eric, but you're better off a bachelor. You'll have more time for your writing and a wider variety of women for your literary palette. You're an artist, Eric, not a country school teacher. You have no idea how much your work suffered because of Janet. Well, there's nothing wrong with her. She's just a typical woman, that's all. And no artist can function when he's chained to the commonplace. Good riddance, my boy. Janet was not for you. She was for a floor walker or a small-town grocer or an insurance salesman.
I was trying to get you at home. What happened to your eye, boss?
Never mind my eye. Why are you calling me?
The boys are calling from the papers. Abel Richmond is producing the comic Spirit with Peter Stanhope. What happened with you and Bush?
That cheap pulp writer. Where were you a while ago when I needed you?
Looking for a job, boss.
You ungrateful rat.
Okay, I'm anything you say, but I got a wife and kids and they gotta eat. Maybe you don't know it yet, but you're finished on Broadway. From top to bottom, they're closing you out. I'm sorry. I don't know how to tell you, boss. It's as if you've forgotten that people are people. You don't even think of yourself as a human being anymore. When that happens, a person's bound to hurt a lot of people. I guess most of all himself. Do you understand what I'm trying to say, boss?
Yeah.
If you ask me to stick with you, I will. You know that. But please don't ask me to. Please don't.
Bye, Hermie.
So long, boss.